These upgrades are going to make this deck pack a bigger punch. Hey everyone, it's me Joji, and today we're going to be taking a look at a Lucario EX battle deck. Now this one is the second of the two EX battle decks to come out for the new Scarlet and Violet series. The first of which is the Ampharos EX, which we did do an upgrade video on already, and if you haven't checked it out, go ahead and check it out. It's going to be in the eye up in the corner. Go ahead and watch it after finishing this video. But this is Lucario EX's video, so let's go ahead and get right into this deck. Here it is, as you can see. Let's get a closer look at it. Lucario EX, this is the card we're going to be getting, with its low sweep doing 60 and Aura Sphere doing 160 and then doing 50 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. Again, these are level 1 decks, so this is meant for beginners. So these upgrades are meant to not break a budget, because if you're starting off with this deck, you want to make it at least a bit more competitive than it really is right now. This is not that good starting off the bat. We'll take a look at the list here, but there's not a lot of good things in here. We can make this a lot better. Here's the back of it. You can see the stuff we'll be getting and some of the other Pokemon cards. And then here it's just going to be a QR code so you can learn some more about how to play Pokemon. But of course, inside here we do have a rules booklet. But speaking of what's inside, let's go ahead and open it up. I still don't understand why they did it a side open, but that's fine. Let's go ahead and get into it here. Alright, so Lucario EX right there on the front. We'll take a look at it in a second. Let's go from the back to the front. As you can see right there, front and center was an EX coin. Again, I wish this was maybe Lucario, as in the other one it was Ampharos, but both of them were just EX coins. Let's put that down. And as we saw in the previous one, if you haven't caught it, let me show you what the deck mat looks like. It is a generic deck mat, at least. You know what? Let me take a quick peek on the other one. Actually, there is a difference. As you can see here, this has the lightning side of the screen on this back section on this side. But this one has the fighting effect, I guess, for Lucario, and it does have some instructions there. I didn't notice that the first time around. Alright, so let's see, we have rules booklet. This is going to be information on the Lucario EX deck and also the Ampharos EX deck. Depending on which one you get, it'll be useful for that. Here's the Lucario side. Here is the Ampharos side. Moving on, of course, we will need our damage counters to play. They're just generic cardboard ones that they usually give for these. These are some quick check rule guides if you want to just, while you're playing, pull this out instead of grabbing this whole booklet. And of course, we do get this new deck box design with the fighting logo, because it is going to be Lucario EX inside of here. And we do have Lucario EX and a code card, which we'll show off in a second. But here is Lucario EX up close and personal. Right there, punching the air, maybe even punching the Ampharos EX. I believe for double weakness, because Ampharos is going to be weak to Lucario EX. So if you're pitting these two together, this one probably has a better chance of winning. But we'll see if it has a better chance of winning against the Ampharos EX after upgrades. But also, let's see if this one will have a better chance against it after upgrades. Let's take a look at, actually, before we go into the contents of this deck box, let me show you the code card, so you can actually get it on Pokemon TCG Live and try it out for yourself. But yeah, as I said, we're going to get right into this deck box and get the other cards out of here and show you guys what it comes with. Okay, as we saw, it is of course Lucario first and foremost, but since it is a stage 1 Pokemon, it needs a Riolu to evolve from, and they give you 3 Riolu. Again, unfortunate that you only get 1 Lucario EX and then 3 Riolu. But we do get a pretty interesting attacker here with the 3-2-1 line of Annihilate, with its Rage Fist doing 70 times however many prize cards your opponent has taken. So this can do a total of 350 damage before obviously weakness and resistance calculations, and then Dynamic Punch for 2 does 170, but then damages itself for 50. Pretty strong Pokemon, to be honest. And a less strong Pokemon, I would say, is a 2-1 line of Medicham. Although the Medicham V is really good in meta right now, this Medicham with its Acupuncture does 30 and then disables an attack from your opponent's Pokemon. And then Kickshot does 90, but then you flip a coin, and if it doesn't hit heads, you do nothing. So, not a great card, I'd say, but a little bit better is the Koraidon here. And again, just like in the previous deck, this is a non-holo Koraidon, and if you pulled this from a Scarlet and Violet booster pack, it would be a holo version. 190 for 4 energy is a lot, to be honest, but it is there if you need to attack with. And then let's move on to, of course, with this EX battle deck, you're always going to have some sort of staple fighting Pokemon because it's a Lucario EX, but then they will throw in colorless Pokemon, and this time they're throwing out a 2-2 line of Oinkologne with its Ram doing 50 and then Leg Stomp doing 30, which is a decent attacker, and then a 3 set of Squawkabilly, which honestly, it's probably here for Call for Family to set up your Pokemon. But if you do need to attack with Fly, it does 60 damage, and then you flip a coin, and if tails, this does nothing. But if heads, during your opponent's next turn, all damage and effects of attacks done to this Pokemon is essentially nullified. So, not a bad card, to be honest, to put in there. You know, if you have to use Fly, it is an option, but Call of Family is probably what it's going to be used for. And its final Pokemon for this EX deck is Cyclozar. Not that great of an attacker, but use this if you set this up and you want a free retreat. It can retreat for free, so keep that in mind when you're playing this card. And again, just like Koraidon, this is supposed to be holo, and this one's not. Now moving on to the trainer cards. Of course, as always, we are going to be running pretty much the same trainers in each EX deck to start off with. 4 Youngster, 4 Nemona for that draw 3, and then 1 single Jock. Of course, we do run, you know, this is an evolution Pokemon. These 2 are evolution Pokemon, sorry, those. And Medicham, Oinkologne are also evolution Pokemon. So Jock is an easy way to get those out and evolved into their higher up form. And the final cards for the trainer cards are going to be 2 Nest Ball, 2 Ultra Ball, 2 Energy Retrievals, 2 Switches, 2 Potions, and then finally we have 1 single Pokegear 3.0. So, before I forget, of course, we need to get all that energy that comes with this deck. A total of 18 basic fighting energy. Way too much, in my opinion, for any deck, unless, you know, you run some sort of like energy discard deck. But this is the deck as it comes in the box for Lucario EX. There are a lot of things we can adjust with this. Obviously, first and foremost, we're going to be adding a second Lucario. But of course, Riolu can evolve both into Lucario EX, and there's also Lucario regular cards that it can evolve into. So that is an option we will definitely be looking at. And of course, I did mention this Medicham is not great at all. So we'll probably be cutting this, maybe even the Oinkolognes. I think maybe we'll keep the Squawkabilly, maybe 1 or 2. But Cyclozar may be going, and we might just add more switching cards. And of course, 3 supporters is not enough. There's a lot more better supporters, and even some supporters we should be adding into a deck like this. So let's go ahead and get right into those deck upgrades. Okay, so for Lucario EX's upgrades, of course, we have to bump up that 3 line of Riolu up to 4, because I don't know why you would want to run 3, because of the cards we're going to be running. We're going to be running, as I mentioned, 2 different Lucarios. It is going to be the Roaring Resolve Lucario, which, let's take a closer look at it here. Once during your turn, you may put 2 damage counters onto this Pokemon. If you do, search your deck for a fighting energy and attach it to this Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. Now that may be a little confusing because, wait, we want the other EX Lucario instead to attack? Yes, but we want to get that energy somehow, and this is going to be the engine on how we dig it from our deck. Of course, there's going to be a few other things, and of course, we're going to find a way to move this onto the other one, which of course, there's 2 there. We also run 2 Lucario EXs. We don't want to just run 1, so let's run 2 of these. Now moving on to our other Pokemon, we have to run Koraidon EX, because it's Dino Cry. Once during your turn, you may move 2 basic energies from your discard pile onto your basic fighting Pokemon. Now, obviously you need to have your Riolu on there to use this ability. If you don't, then it's going to have to go onto either it or another Pokemon we'll see in a second. So of course, 2 Koraidon EX there, followed by another attacker that we can use, Arcanine V. This is the Hisuian Arcanine V. Irresistible Force lets you move as many energy onto it as you want during your turn, and then its attack does 90 plus 30 more for each fighting energy attached to it. And so if maybe you have enough energy attached and you don't want your Lucario EX to be knocked out, you can use this Hisuian Arcanine to attack with instead. And then I did want to keep some Pokemon from there that were pretty interesting. I specifically wanted to keep a 1-1 line, 1-1-1 line of Annihilape, because Rage Fist honestly is a really interesting attack, and I'm actually excited because there's going to be an Annihilape EX, so you can actually use this in combination with that one at a later time. But Rage Fist is a good way to equalize a game, so we run a 1-1-1 line. A little risky because one of these could be prized and it's essentially out for the game unless you draw it early on, but it is there. And then to help us get our Riolu out, and maybe even some of the other basic Pokemon, we are running the Squawkabilly for Call of Family. But if you want to attack with, can use Fly. But keep in mind that this guy cannot be attached to by Koraidon EX. And of course, it can only be basic Pokemon. So Hisuian Arcanine is good, Riolu is good, Mankey is good, but this guy can't be attached to by that Koraidon. Now let's move on to our supporter cards, which we have to have staple cards in this deck for it to be competitive. So we're running a 3 line of Professor's Research. We're keeping 2 of the Youngster. We're adding 2 Boss's Orders. And then we're adding a single Arven and then a single Judge. Now this Arven, actually, I want to point out, it's going to be very helpful later on. We'll see some cards that it's going to be able to draw into, because it can draw into a Poketool and an item card, which are going to be very helpful. We'll see in a second what I'm talking about. But for now, let's go with some other item cards we're going to look at. We are bumping up that 2 Ultra Ball to 4. Then we're also bumping up that Nest Ball up to 4. And now a new card that we can use Arven with is going to be the Gutsy Pickaxe. Now this lets you reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a fighting energy, you can attach it to one of your benched Pokemon. So it's a good way to accelerate energy, but if it's not, then you just draw the card as normally. So it's a win-win. You either get a card or you attach for free. So running 4 of those. And then we have a way to move those energy around. We have 2 Energy Switch, which of course you can attach to Lucario with its ability, and then to Lucario EX with this Energy Switch. It's a very good combination there. And even you can combo it with the Gutsy Pickaxe. If you get the Arven from the Pickaxe, you can at least use, Roaring Resolve and then an Energy Switch. We also have, speaking of switches, 2 switches. And then our item, my bad, Poke Tool. I keep forgetting these are now Poke Tools and not item cards. As you can see up here, it says Pokemon Tool. It used to say item card and then Poke Tool down here, but these are rock chest plates. These essentially go onto your fighting Pokemon to make it a little bit stronger by 30 HP. And of course, these being Poke Tools can be grabbed by Arven, which is obviously what we're going to be using it for. And then for our stadium, we have Temple of Sinnoh. Now this will stop your opponent's decks that run special energy, but you can use this to bump stadiums that are helpful for them, and that way they have to find their other one. But it's not going to be detrimental like a Path of the Peak would be to this deck, because Hisuian Arcanine's ability would be turned off, and so would Koraidon's, so we're not running that in this deck. And then for our energy, we are going to be running 14 fighting energy total. So a good amount of energy, I'd say, especially since you're going to want these in the discard to use it for Koraidon, but also we're going to want to have a bunch of these available for Gutsy Pickaxe and for Lucario Roaring Resolve's ability. So that is the deck as upgraded right now. Obviously there are some other ways you can upgrade it, such as if you wanted to get rid of these Squawkabillies and the Annihilate line, you could, and put something else in it instead. And you could even maybe bump up some numbers here, maybe a second Arven, or maybe replace the youngsters with a Judge, and maybe add some more Boss's Orders, even finish up this line of Professor's Research. Heck, if you wanted to add a new supporter, you could add Grant, which essentially you can bring this back multiple times just by discarding cards, which you could discard your basic fighting energy, and then you can use it to do more damage with your fighting Pokemon. But those are just some options for upgrading this even further that come to mind. Obviously, fighting Pokemon are in a weird spot at the moment, being weak to Psychic because of Gardevoir EX going around pretty prevalently, but of course it is also pretty strong when it comes to going up against maybe something like a Miraidon EX. And with the next set coming out, I think fighting Pokemon are actually really geared to become one of the best decks in format, with Tinglu EX and even Annihilate EX, as I mentioned, coming out. And so let's go ahead and take this deck as is, and let's see how competitive it really is in a match. Okay, so we lost the coin flip, but while we wait for them to decide, you can check out the deck list in the description if you want to play this exact deck in Pokemon TCG Live. Just go ahead and copy it, and then in the deck upload process, go ahead and click import from clipboard, and you can get it easily. Oh, looks like we're mulliganing. We are starting. Okay, it's not bad. I think we start with Riolu. Yeah, Riolu I think is probably the best start. Ooh, this is a good matchup for us. Arceus is weak to fighting, and that is our whole deck. We also do have Lucario Roaring Resolve here. Rock Chestplate, that's a good start too. Oh, it's a very good matchup for us. We can at least get a jab in for 20 damage. Alright. I think we can probably Arven for another rock chestplate. Miraidon with Arceus. Interesting combination, I would have to say. With the Raichu as well. Very interesting. Was I going crazy? Possibly. Or was that mulligan not showing me the correct cards? I would not be surprised if Pokemon TCG Live just showed us a bug. Let's put up Mankey out of safety. And I'm actually going to switch out of safety as well. Put this here. Chestplate. Arven. Let's see, how many of our EXs do we have? We have 2. We could get maybe Koraidon off an Ultra Ball or something. I think I might do that. Let's get a chest plate too. Gonna get rid of that and the switch. Koraidon. We're gonna put the chest plate onto Koraidon as well. And then we're going to, instead of tacking, and I kind of wish I had thought about this beforehand, before attaching, we're gonna Dino Cry onto it. All right. That's unfortunate. I could have gotten 2 onto there, but overall it's fine. Ultra Ball, okay, let's see what they're grabbing. Maybe the Regieleki VMAX just to retreat back. Which is fine for us. We will be doing quite a bit of damage with our Lucario here. Ooh, Arceus. Are they planning on going with the Arceus next turn? With the Trinity Charge, possibly? Oh, just one attach. Let's see, are they switching bolts? Possibly. They are. Into what? Because whatever they switch into, we are going to knock out next turn. Okay. That's good for us, actually. Putting up Riolu. Youngster is actually really great for us. We're going to do Roar and Resolve first. Grab an energy. So we have 2, 3. So one of them is prized. We're going to Youngster for new hand. Put up another Riolu. We're going to put up a Hisuian Arcanine too. Why not? Primeape, unfortunately, is not useful anymore. Professor's Research is fine for next turn. And I'm going to go ahead and Aurora Sphere for knockout. That's perfect. They don't get to use Arceus at all. Alright, what do we have? Okay. I have the Koraidon up here now. Oh, and they got the attack in too. Oh, the judge. Oh, that's unfortunate. Especially after that pickaxe. Oh, well, we got a professor back. Snorlax. Oh, is that the unfaced fat one? It is. They won't be able to attack. So I'm thinking of maybe sending up Koraidon as a placeholder. Let's see what we can grab with Nest Ball. Another Riolu. I think it's a good idea. We're going to actually get this up here. We're going to attach to this one instead. Professor. Okay, that's a good hand. We do have an energy switch as well. Roar and Resolve. We have 5 energy in deck. Okay, good to know. And then we're going to Dino Cry those energy onto here to get ready for our Lucario EX, hopefully next turn. I'm okay with losing Koraidon if we can get Lucario up, because Lucario will also be able to hit the bench, which is good. Electric Generator. Looks like they got at least one. Okay, they only got one. Do they have the attach and a switch possibly? Let's see. They got a double turbo. Interesting. Cynthia. It might be a pass here. Should be good for us. Oh no, the hard retreat into what? Interesting. If they hit us, I think they only do, what, 10 damage? No, no damage. I guess even with their DTE, well, I guess they could lightning wall. They'll be doing 70 damage. They are going to be taking 100 less from attacks, though. Is that a concern for us? I think so. Annihilate is not useful in this matchup right now. I'm going to attach here. Roar and Resolve once more. And I'm going to energy switch onto it so we can retreat. So from this one onto here. I'm going to play Temple because now this is useless for them. I'm hoping to draw into Lucario EX. Wonderful. Alright. I don't think I'll need a Squawkabilly or this Primeape, so let's get rid of these, thin out our deck here. I want this other Riolu. We can use this. Alright. We're going to hard retreat into this Lucario. This is hitting more than enough for knockout on it. And we will be doing that 50 onto one of their benched Pokemon. So let's go with... do we threaten the Raichu? They may not want to put up the Raichu if we attack it, so let's do that. There we go. That's a wonderful hit right there. Their Lightning Wall's ability didn't matter. Alright. It's looking good for us. They could discard all of their energy and knock us out here, though. Just as an option for them. But next turn, we could just Roar and Resolve, knock that out, and win. So this is really why we run both these two different Lucarios. Let's see, what are they doing? There's not much else they can do. This was a very one-sided match for them. They are running against weakness, unfortunately. And there's no way for them to get 4 prize cards in one turn. We won't get to see Hisuian Arcanine do any damage. We could, but I don't want to risk not getting the 4 damage, or 4 energy onto it. Alright, so they're going to discard at least 4. Wait, do they... It's just 4, I believe, because of the Regieleki VMAX. They could discard all. If they really wanted to do 390, I believe. But, again, it does not matter in the end. We still have our other Lucario that can easily knock out that Raichu. It's just about them deciding 270. It looks like they were discarding total of 4. Oh, 270. I was thinking 260. My bad. It was 240 plus 30. Alright, so Lucario here goes up. We can just regular attach here. And this is game. 260 damage. They've conceded. Easy matchup for us. We were hitting for weakness. And that's what you need to know about this. There are a lot of Koraidon decks going around. Lucario is going to be hitting for weakness. And so that was Lucario EX. Honestly, it's a good card. I just don't think in this current just regular Scarlet and Violet base set format, it is great. It's going to get better. I will say that much. With the release of Paldea Evolved, it's going to get so many more better cards that's going to help it become even more powerful. Or heck, it may even unfortunately take a backseat to some of those newer fighting Pokemon. But overall, it's still a card to try out. And honestly, if you're a fan of Lucario EX and we're hoping that they would get a card, this is a good middle ground, I'd say. It could have been better, but you know, again, Aura Sphere doing 160 and then bench sniping is not that bad of a combination. But let me know what you think. Are you going to try out Lucario EX? Or are you going to wait for Paldea Evolved to try out fighting decks? Or maybe, remember that this card exists when that comes out, and you can add this as a way to beef up those other fighting Pokemon. But yeah, again, I think it's definitely worth trying out. But let me know what you think down in the comments. And while you're there, why don't you get subscribed? Because we're also going to be doing some more deck upgrade videos, specifically on the newest League Battle deck to come out, which is Palkia V-Star. And while it did lose its Inteleon engine, it is still viable. And we're going to see if it's even more viable with some upgrades. But if that's something you want to catch, definitely get subscribed. And we're going to have so many other deck upgrade videos and even some more deck reviews. So if any of that sounds enticing, definitely get subscribed and we'll see you there. Anyways, guys, as always, stay safe and thanks for watching.